Welcome back, property enthusiasts, to Singapore Property Talk Law. Get ready for a deep dive into the exciting world of Singapore real estate because today we're going to be uncovering a phenomenon that could make you some serious cash. How new MRT lines send property prices soaring.
It's great to be here. I'm Serene.
And I'm Damien.
And today we're going to unpack some of the market trends that are shaping Singapore's property landscape.
Well, buckle up, Serene, because we're going to take a trip down memory lane and see what we can learn from the past to make smart decisions about the future. Specifically, we're talking about the recent Cross Island Line Phase 2 announcement, 6 brand new stations coming online by 2032.
A game changer indeed. You know what's fascinating? History shows us that property prices near MRT stations often jump dramatically even before the stations are built.
Yeah.
Talk about the power of anticipation.
Yeah, it's like people can already smell the fresh paint in those new train cars.
Yeah.
But why does this happen, Serene? Why do prices spike just on the news of a new line?
Well, it's a phenomenon we call the announcement effect, and it all boils down to the anticipation of future convenience and connectivity. Think about it. Shorter commutes, easier access to amenities, and the potential for stronger rental yields. It's no wonder buyers are eager to get in early. A great example is what happened with the downtown line. A study revealed that condo prices near the announced stations jumped significantly before the line was even operational.
Okay, let's break down this announcement effect a bit further. What's the psychology at play here?
Well, imagine you're a homeowner or an investor, and you hear that a new MRT station is being built right in your neighborhood.
Right.
Suddenly, your property becomes more attractive to a wider pool of potential buyers and tenants who are drawn to the added convenience and connectivity. This increased demand naturally leads to upward pressure on prices.
So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The anticipation itself creates the price surge.
Exactly. Take, for instance, the condos near King Albert Park Station. They saw a staggering 65% price jump after the downtown line announcement. That's not just a little bump, that's a major wave of appreciation.
Wow, 65%. Now that's what I call riding the property wave. But you mentioned earlier that this effect isn't uniform across the board, right?
That's right. While we see widespread price increases, the magnitude of those increases can vary depending on several factors. For example, luxury properties in already well-connected central areas might experience more modest gains because the marginal benefit of a new MRT station is less pronounced in these locations.
Right. It's like adding an extra lane to an already wide highway. Helpful but not transformative. But interestingly, it seems older developments also saw significant benefits from the downtown line.
Absolutely. A great example is the area around the Chinatown station. Older developments like People's Park Complex and People's Park Center, which were built in the 1970s, experienced significant price increases after the downtown line announcement.
Interesting. What do you think contributed to those increases?
It's likely a combination of factors. The improved connectivity made these older developments, which often come with lower price tags, more attractive to a wider range of buyers, including those who may have previously overlooked them due to their age.
Right.
And with the potential for en bloc redevelopment, investors saw an opportunity to capitalize on the rising land values in a rejuvenated neighborhood.
So the takeaway here is that while the announcement effect is a powerful force, it's not a one-size-fits-all phenomenon.
Precisely. Understanding the nuances of each location and the factors that influence buyer demand is key to making smart property decisions. So with that in mind, let's shift our focus to the areas that are likely to be impacted by the Cross Island Line Phase 2. We're going to start with a location that's undergoing a major transformation. Turf City.
Turf City, that's quite an intriguing spot. It's not exactly known for being a residential hub.
Not yet, but that's about to change. It's fascinating to witness the evolution of areas over time, and Turf City's transition from a recreational hub to a potential residential hotspot is a prime example. Think of it as a blank canvas with immense possibilities for those who are looking to get in early.
A blank canvas in prime Bukit Timah. That's quite a proposition.
Yeah.
What kind of residential developments can we expect to see there, Serene?
Based on the URA master plan and past examples like Woodley, we could see a mix of public and private housing options springing up in the vicinity of the new MRT station. Imagine snagging a flat with direct MRT access in such a prestigious location. It's a dream come true for many Singaporeans.
A dream indeed. But Turf City isn't the only area that will benefit from the Cross Island Line Phase 2, right?
Absolutely not. Let's move on to another area that's long awaited better MRT access. West Coast Road. This area has been underserved by the MRT network for far too long, and the new West Coast station is poised to make a significant difference for residents and businesses alike.
I bet residents are already celebrating. But how do you think this will impact property prices in the area, Serene?
We'll consider areas like Sunset Way, known for their charming landed properties and tranquil atmosphere. They've always relied heavily on private vehicles. But with the new West Coast station just a stone's throw away, these areas become much more appealing to those who prefer the convenience of public transport or want to reduce their reliance on cars.
So we could see a shift in demand, potentially leading to price increases in these previously car-dependent enclaves.
Exactly. And that brings us to a key takeaway for our listeners. Consider the potential of currently less popular areas that will soon gain better MRT connectivity. But remember, MRT proximity isn't the be-all and end-all when it comes to property investment.
Right. There's a whole ecosystem of factors to consider. We'll dive into those additional factors in just a bit. But for now, let's take a quick pause to let everything sink in.
We'll be back in a flash to explore what else savvy buyers should be looking at beyond the MRT effect. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Singapore Property Talk Law. I hope you've been absorbing all those juicy insights about how new MRT lines can send property prices skyrocketing. We were just discussing how the new Cross Island Line Phase 2 is likely to impact areas like Turf City and West Coast Road. But as seasoned property enthusiasts know, there's more to this story than just MRT proximity.
That's absolutely right. While a nearby MRT station is a definite plus, savvy buyers need to look beyond that initial allure and consider a whole range of factors that contribute to a property's value proposition.
So what else should buyers be paying attention to?
Well, for starters, the age of the property is crucial. Older properties might offer more affordable entry points, but they often come with higher maintenance costs and may lack the modern amenities that newer developments boast.
That makes sense. You wouldn't want to be stuck with a hefty renovation bill right after you move in.
Exactly. And then there's the question of existing amenities in the neighborhood. Are there good schools, parks, supermarkets, and healthcare facilities within easy reach? These factors can significantly impact your quality of life and, ultimately, the desirability of your property.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where convenience meets lifestyle.
Precisely. And let's not forget the overall neighborhood appeal. Is it a vibrant and bustling area or a more tranquil and laid-back enclave? The vibe of a neighborhood can make or break your experience as a resident.
You're reminding me of a crucial point highlighted in one of our sources, the importance of thorough research. One of the articles even mentioned a powerful tool called the MOA analysis.
Ah, yes. The MOA analysis is a fantastic framework for evaluating properties. It takes a multifaceted approach, assessing various factors that contribute to a property's potential. The acronym stands for macro, offer, accessibility, and tenancy.
Okay.
It encourages you to consider macro factors like economic trends and government policies.
Right.
Offer factors like the unit size, layout, and unique features of the property itself. Accessibility, including not just MRT access, but also proximity to major roads and other transportation options. And finally, tenancy demand based on demographics and rental trends in the area.
So it's like a comprehensive checklist for property hunters, prompting them to think beyond just capital appreciation and consider the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's about aligning your property decisions with your lifestyle needs and long-term goals. Are you buying to live in or as an investment? What are your priorities in terms of space, amenities, and community vibe?
It's not just about chasing the MRT train. It's about making sure you actually enjoy the view from your window.
That's a great analogy. Finding the right property is about finding the right fit for you, and that often requires digging a bit deeper than just looking at the nearest MRT station.
Well said. With all this emphasis on strategic planning and considering various factors, let's zoom out even further and look at the bigger picture, the future of connectivity in Singapore and its long-term impact on property values. We came across some interesting information about ongoing studies for new MRT lines in Tengah and Seletar, potentially operational from the 2040s onwards.
Yes, those potential lines offer a glimpse into the future of Singapore's transportation network and how it will shape the property landscape in the coming decades.
While these timelines might seem far off, seasoned investors know that it's never too early to start thinking long-term, especially when it comes to property. It's like strategically planting seeds today that could grow into a lush and fruitful garden in the years to come.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And while we're on the topic of future developments, it's worth noting that extensions to existing lines can also have a significant impact on property values. A great example is the planned Jurong Region Line extension to the Circle Line, which will connect the west to the rest of the island in an even more seamless way.
Ah, yes. Creating new pathways to property hotspots and opening up a world of possibilities for residents and businesses alike. What kind of impact do you envision these extensions having on properties in the vicinity?
Well, think of it this way. These extensions essentially expand the catchment area for properties, making them accessible to a wider pool of potential buyers and tenants.
Right.
This increased accessibility translates into higher demand, which, as we've seen, can have a significant positive impact on prices.
It's like a ripple effect spreading outwards from those newly connected points. But with all these new lines and extensions popping up, one can't help but wonder, is Singapore reaching a saturation point when it comes to MRT connectivity?
That's a great question, and one that many property enthusiasts are pondering. While we've established that MRT proximity generally adds value, the magnitude of that effect is bound to shift as Singapore's transportation network becomes increasingly comprehensive.
So you're saying we might see diminishing returns on the MRT effect as connectivity reaches a certain threshold?
Precisely. Imagine a scenario where every corner of Singapore is just a short stroll from an MRT station. In such a well-connected landscape, the premium placed on proximity might decrease as convenience becomes the norm rather than a distinguishing factor.
It's like the difference between having the only swimming pool in the neighborhood versus living in a condo complex where everyone has access to a pool. The exclusivity factor fades.
Exactly. But that doesn't mean new MRT lines will become irrelevant. They'll continue to shape urban development and influence property values, albeit in more nuanced ways. We might see a shift from a purely proximity-driven price effect to a broader focus on the overall accessibility and connectivity of a neighborhood.
So instead of just asking how close is the nearest station, buyers might start asking how seamlessly can I get from point A to point B using a combination of MRT lines and other transportation options.
That's a great way to put it. And this shift towards a more holistic view of connectivity brings us back to the importance of research and analysis using tools like the MOA analysis. Buyers need to dig deeper, considering factors like travel times, interchange convenience, and the availability of feeder bus services. It's about understanding the bigger picture, not just focusing on a single station.
It's about connecting the dots, both literally and figuratively. And speaking of connecting the dots, let's shift our focus to how these MRT developments are shaping Singapore's overall urban planning strategy. We're talking about the concept of decentralization, right? Creating vibrant hubs outside the traditional central business district.
Exactly. New MRT lines play a crucial role in facilitating this shift. By improving connectivity to areas outside the city center, they make these locations more attractive for businesses, residents, and investors alike.
And that's where we see the ripple effect on property values. As businesses set up shop and amenities flourish in these newly accessible hubs, demand for housing follows suit, driving up prices.
That's the domino effect of connectivity in action. And we can already see this happening in areas like Jurong Lake District and Punggol Digital District, both of which have benefited significantly from new MRT lines.
These hubs are evolving into self-contained ecosystems, offering a compelling alternative to city center living.
Precisely. And for savvy property investors, recognizing these emerging height spots early on can lead to substantial rewards. It's all about staying ahead of the curve and anticipating the transformative power of connectivity.
It's like predicting where the next wave will crest and positioning yourself to ride it. But with all this talk about strategic planning, we mustn't forget the human element. After all, property decisions are ultimately personal decisions. We're not just talking about numbers on a spreadsheet. We're talking about finding a place to call home.
That's a crucial point. While we've delved into the financial and strategic aspects of property investment, it's essential to remember that buying a property is about finding a place that resonates with your values, your lifestyle, and your aspirations for the future.
It's about finding a place where you can envision yourself building a life, creating memories, and feeling a sense of belonging. And that's something no MRT map can fully capture.
You're right. It's the intangible essence of a neighborhood, the feeling you get when you walk down the street, chat with the local shopkeepers, and imagine yourself as part of the community.
It's about that gut feeling, that spark of excitement that tells you, this is where I belong.
Absolutely. And that's why, in addition to all the research and analysis we've discussed, it's essential to take the time to explore different neighborhoods, get a feel for their unique vibe, and trust your intuition.
Sometimes, the best property decisions are made with both your head and your heart. It's a beautiful dance between logic and emotion, between strategic planning and that gut feeling that tells you found something special. But hold that thought for just a moment, because we're going to take a quick detour into the future. When we come back, we'll be exploring how the rise of driverless cars could potentially reshape Singapore's property landscape. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Singapore Property Talk Law. We've been on quite a journey exploring the intricate relationship between MRT lines and property prices, and now we're about to take a giant leap into the future. Get ready to ponder this. How will the rise of driverless cars potentially reshape Singapore's property landscape? It's a question that has the potential to disrupt our current understanding of property value drivers.
Imagine a world where the need for MRT proximity diminishes because driverless cars offer door-to-door convenience regardless of location.
Whoa, mind blown. So we can see a shift away from the traditional MRT-centric mindset that's dominated Singapore's property market for so long.
It's certainly a possibility. If driverless cars become a ubiquitous and affordable mode of transport, the premium placed on properties near MRT stations might decrease. Suddenly, that secluded landed property in a tranquil, far-flung corner of Singapore becomes much more appealing because your driverless car eliminates the hassle of commuting.
It's like the entire island becomes equally accessible regardless of MRT lines. But wouldn't that lead to increased demand for properties in currently less popular areas, potentially driving up prices there?
That's a likely scenario.
Yeah.
We could see a rebalancing of property values with areas that were previously considered less desirable due to their lack of MRT access becoming more sought after. Think of those hidden gems tucked away in serene corners of the island suddenly becoming prime real estate.
So the traditional property hierarchy, based on proximity to the city center and MRT lines, could be turned on its head.
Exactly. It's a potential paradigm shift that savvy investors need to be aware of. But it's important to note that this is still a future scenario, and the timeline for widespread driverless car adoption remains uncertain. There are technological hurdles, regulatory considerations, and, of course, the question of public acceptance to consider.
Right. We're peering into a crystal ball here,
Yeah.
but it's a future worth pondering.
Absolutely. It's about anticipating potential disruptions and adapting our investment strategies accordingly. It's a reminder that the property market is constantly evolving. What's considered a prime location today might not hold the same value in the future.
It's a dynamic landscape shaped by technological advancements, government policies, and shifting lifestyle preferences. We need to stay informed and adaptable.
Couldn't agree more. And that's where resources like the MO8 analysis become even more valuable. By taking a holistic view of property evaluation, considering not just current factors but also potential future trends, investors can make more informed decisions.
It's about looking beyond the obvious, thinking critically, and embracing the exciting possibilities that lie ahead. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of Singapore property. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the impact of new MRT lines to the potential disruption of driverless cars. It's been an insightful journey, but the key takeaway is clear. Knowledge is power, especially in the dynamic world of real estate. So keep learning, keep exploring, and stay ahead of the curve.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed by all this information, don't hesitate to reach out to a trusted property consultant. They can help you personalize these insights and guide you towards making the best decisions for your unique needs and goals.
Until next time, happy property hunting. May your property journey be filled with prosperity and joy.